Flying cars have been in the minds of people for almost a century. The idea was even more popularized after the Jetsons animated show released in 1962. But back then, it was only a dream. In the last few years with modern technology, we've seen all kinds of flying car prototypes from different companies. But now, they're actually being sold. According to CNET.com, the appropriately named Jetson Aero Company has hundreds of orders for their flying car, named the Jetson 1, and they hope to have their cars hitting the skies in less than a year. So, flying cars actually exist. Cool, but what does this have to do with NASCAR? Well, after the conclusion of the 2021 NASCAR season, a flying car series or exhibition race was a huge topic of conversation. Just 2 weeks after the conclusion of the 2021 season on November 22nd, Adam Stern broke this story. Stern reported that NASCAR had asked its fan council what types of vehicles they'd like to see at exhibition events. The options to choose from were pickup trucks, crossovers, sedans or coupes, SUVs, and yes, flying cars. The survey put parentheses after the flying cars option and stated that the flying cars would be similar to a drone, but large enough to hold one person. So the NASCAR Fan Council is interesting. Basically, anyone can sign up, and all you really do is answer survey questions that just take a few minutes. Hypothetically, this is where NASCAR gets its feedback from its fans, but NASCAR typically just does what they want to anyway. But the interesting thing is that some of these outlandish ideas that you see in these survey questions actually come to fruition. In fact, NASCAR asks its fans to keep the surveys confidential because they sometimes mention ideas that are not fully public yet. For example, one of the first times NASCAR fans heard about the possibility of numbers being changed from the center of the car, single lug nuts, and even some all-star race formats were during the fan council surveys. When NASCAR mentions ideas like this, it's because there is a real possibility of it actually happening. Looking back at the Adam Stern article, he interestingly mentioned Airspeeder, an electric flying car racing series. The Airspeeder vehicles fit the description of like a drone and large enough to hold a person that NASCAR put in its fan council survey. 3 days later, Airspeeder tweeted out this picture to add fuel to the fire. But why did this idea of flying cars even come up? Well, Ben Kennedy told Sports Business Journal that NASCAR's strategy team was working on a 10-year plan for the sport. The team was working on a mock 2031 schedule as a roadmap for the future. Another NASCAR spokesman stated that the same sort of forward thinking led to the sport to ask its fans about flying cars. So as a result, it was obviously a big discussion in the community. If you missed this or weren't on Twitter at the time, everyone was talking about this, and of course, the fans weren't happy about it. It was a super hot conversation for a couple of weeks, then vanished completely. Not really any updates have been provided, and NASCAR hasn't mentioned flying cars since. So this brings me to a few questions I had. Is NASCAR still pursuing this idea? Where is Airspeeder with their technology and racing series? And could flying cars in NASCAR happen in the next few years? First, we'll start off with NASCAR. Is this idea still on the table? Although the backlash on Twitter was heavy, NASCAR indicated that the fan council responses were heavily in favor of NASCAR including some sort of airborne element to its races in the near future. Remember, this was in 2021. And at the time, the sanctioning body was considering a partnership with Airspeeder as soon as 2022. As that year came and went, there were no announcements of a formal partnership. Since the fan council survey question and a few statements from Ben Kennedy, I cannot find a single mention of flying cars in NASCAR. Nothing since 2021. So maybe NASCAR is not actively pursuing this idea because let's face it, they need to get the cars on the ground working well before they try the air. But maybe it's on their list somewhere. Now, you might think this is where the video ends, but Airspeeder is actually making some progress when it comes to racing flying cars. The first race of the Airspeeder EXA series actually took place just 6 months ago. Now, if you got even remotely excited like I did, be prepared to be disappointed. The race took place in South Australia and premiered on YouTube in October of 2022. So honestly, it was kind of neat, but very underwhelming. Although the race highlights were just a 2-minute video, it was still pretty boring. It was an obvious ripoff of a Formula One highlights video, and the commentators were trying to build it up like people should be on the edge of their seat.
Oh, there's another move on. This is incredible. What an attack.
Not to mention, the race only consisted of 2 drivers. One of them stated it was an honor to be racing with the best in the world, which I thought was hilarious. Like, come on, they're just hyping it up way too much. So I was thinking, okay, this is a start. But then realized the Airspeeder EXA series stands for the Airspeeder External Aviator series. They're literally just racing massive drones. No one's even in them piloting them. They were just doing something people have been doing for years, just a lot less exciting. Drone racing on TV is actually pretty impressive and exciting if you've ever seen it. I get the idea, like the EXA series is used to test the vehicles and everything, but it seems like they're just rushing their product to try and get a following, and I don't think that it's working. So this is the problem I have with Airspeeder and other flying car companies, and possibly why NASCAR hasn't announced a partnership with them yet. They always have these unattainable deadlines and set massive expectations and fall short every single time. They always disappoint fans and every other stakeholder. In 2020, Airspeeder announced that they would have their first manned race in 2021. Then 2022. Almost halfway into 2023, still nothing about a manned flying car race. Airspeeder did state that they wanted to expand to 10 teams and 20 pilots in the near future, but who even knows? Also, it's kind of funny that they only did 2 races ever in the EXA series. The second one only got 2,000 views on YouTube, and then they just never uploaded another one. Maybe it wasn't worth the time, effort, the editing, anything just to get 2,000 views. I'm not bragging or anything, and I'm by no means one of the biggest YouTubers out there, but the last time I had a video with less than 2,000 views was 5 years ago when I was 16 years old and I had no idea what I was doing. I just can't take this company seriously, and as a result, I can't take NASCAR partnering with this company seriously either. I'm not trying to talk trash about the people working on the technology or even the people making the Airspeeder videos, but everything's just overhyped. They referred to Bruna Senna as an EXA development pilot in a recent video. Like, come on. I mean, it seems like the company is still making progress in some way. They just announced Intel as their official intelligence partner. They announced a partnership with the sports streaming platform. They achieved their 250th successful test in late 2022. And I'm pretty sure they still have a bunch of brilliant minds working together to make this dream of racing flying cars a reality. So maybe things are looking up, just a bit slower than expected. So although it seems NASCAR and Airspeeder will not be announcing a partnership anytime soon, I still would like to see Airspeeder reach their goals and be successful. Maybe in a few years' time, it'll be exciting to watch 20 cars flying around and racing with a proper circuit and championship format. But to be honest, I'm not interested in seeing NASCAR drivers flying around in the sky. I mean, maybe, just maybe, a one-off exhibition race, but nothing more than that. Anyway, I think Chase Elliott would have that in the bag. For now, I think NASCAR should just focus on how to perfect wheels before they try wings. So it is interesting that this was actually a big topic of conversation less than a year and a half ago. Even looking back at it, it just seems like outlandish and possibly just a publicity stunt, as nothing really ever came out of it. So I just wanted to revisit that time, maybe expose a few more of you guys to that idea if you had never heard it, and then also see if this would even be a possibility. After I was looking into this idea of flying cars, I saw that Airspeeder was making some progress, so I thought I could share that with you guys. But anyways, that's it for this video. I hope you did enjoy it. I know it was a little bit different, so let me know what you thought of it down below. But with that said, I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.